Hey everybody, this is Thoma Daneau speaking, and today I'm with Eric Haar to talk about social selling. So me, Thoma Daneau, you may know me because you are my LinkedIn. Eric, can you introduce yourself?
Hey, everybody, and thanks, Toma, for the opportunity to speak with everybody on your channel. My name is Eric Haar, and I'm originally from the U.S. I lived in Pennsylvania virtually my entire life, but I moved to the Netherlands about 5 years ago, and that's where I got my first taste of social selling. I became a social selling coach for Tricycle Europe, an Amsterdam-based company, and we train all kinds of companies across the globe, most notably Microsoft and Microsoft partners, and some other large IT companies. So it's a pleasure to be here, Thoma.
Thanks for accepting. So the subject will be social selling, and the first question is, what is social selling?
Well, social selling can be a lot of things to a lot of people, but essentially, in very short terms, it's a response to how the buyer's journey has changed. And it's a series of tactics and strategies that really focus on professional branding and trying to maximize, the relationships that you have built, in your network.
Okay, and because you are in video, how can a video help social selling?
Well, of course, everybody is really time pressed nowadays. And we all know that if we're on LinkedIn, we should be sharing content. And we tend to share a lot of heavy duty content, when we share articles. And nowadays, people don't have a lot of time to even read these deep articles. And I train a lot of people, and I hear the same thing. I don't have time to even write content. The marketing, I don't have the right content for marketing to share. I don't feel comfortable sharing it. So what happens? They don't share at all. And that's just not a good game plan nowadays because all eyes are on social based on the environment that we're in. So, video. Video is the short answer. You can create, like we are doing right now, we can create content with very minimal effort by hosting a call and doing exactly what you are doing to generate conversations that can be beneficial to your network. So those of us who are starting to realize that video, if it's done, well, and it's done from the value perspective, like what can we talk about that adds value in our network? And we can do it in a conversational way that we could put on display for our network in a short video. Then it becomes easy to start sharing content. And that is one of my main messages. Start leveraging video because it's easy and we're all in virtual environments now. So why not start capitalizing on these great conversations and get our network, interested in what we're doing and showing what we do rather than telling what we do. And one thing about social selling is, just to talk about that point and expand that just a little bit more. There's just a lot of people listening on social, but there's not a lot of people really participating on social. And that's where I think content and the better way that we do it, namely, video and some other engaging ways, can really help LinkedIn become a platform of sharing and information exchange rather than just a listening platform where people try to sell you stuff.
Yeah, that's funny because that I had the third surprise question, and it was about that. But just before jumping on that question, I would also like to add, I think video is a great way to put more personality into what you are posting. Since we can see you interacting, the expression, everything, I think it's a nice way to just add a touch of personality to text with there's no intonation and everything. But thanks.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not B2B or B2C anymore. It's H to H. It's human to
Yeah.
human. And if you can put a human face, with your words, I mean, this is what video is about. I mean, your articles can speak for you, but you can have, a much more meaningful interaction, of course, when you leverage the video and see someone, obviously.
Yeah. So my question is, how do you, let's just say somebody is watching this video on YouTube, how do you convince him to go back to LinkedIn? Because like everyone, he created a profile like some years ago. He goes once a month to see if anybody has seen his profile. So how do you get him back to LinkedIn?
Well, obviously, if you're not thinking that LinkedIn is relevant to you, you may be in a line of business that is not B2B, that you feel it's not relevant. Uh, so, one thing I'd say to you is this: we are all sellers and marketers of our professional brand. And if we get on a huge platform like this and communicate what we do from a more customer centric point of view. It doesn't matter if you own your own business, entrepreneur, if you're an artist, everybody will go to find you on LinkedIn, no matter if they met you at an event or they saw some of your work somewhere. They're going to check you out, and this is a platform that you need to be on and need to represent yourself, regardless if you're in B2B, IT, whatever industry you think. All eyes are on social, and LinkedIn is undoubtedly the one of the largest, B2B business platforms in the world. 600 and almost 700 million people on it globally. If you are on that platform and represented, and then you're starting to do things well in terms of engaging your network rather than just listening, you're going to start seeing return on your investment. You're going to start seeing things come from this if you start participating. And that's one of the things also is return on investment. People don't get on social. They think LinkedIn is dead because it's just a bunch of article sharing and nobody, blah, blah, blah. But if you've been on LinkedIn for years and not gotten anything from it, maybe you're not doing it right. That's where usually I come in and say, if you're approaching things from a transactional mindset and you're on LinkedIn sharing, things about your company all the time and looking for, some kind of trolling for business hits on your post, guess what? That's probably not the best motion. So if you're focusing on LinkedIn as a platform where you can share information and be a thought leader and try to be more supportive of your network, and by showing what you do and being a trusted advisor, then you're going to get a lot more response from your network that ends you up getting into some business outcomes for you in the future. But I think those are the things to think about. Not sitting on the sidelines anymore, not saying it doesn't apply to me. I think it applies to everybody.
Super interesting. We can see this is not the first time that you have to talk about it. Also, I will add it's a nice way since LinkedIn is also in the first result of the any organic searches. I think it's a nice way to when people are looking for you online on Google or on LinkedIn, that you can see who you are really are. So
It's all about search results, and it's all about the people on the channel. So maybe you have 20% of the people on LinkedIn that are really your target market. But if you're not there, you're missing out on that 20%. You don't know who's on LinkedIn until you're there and really starting to engage and see if you can get the kind of people to be pulled out of your network that are relevant to you. So the other message is be on every platform that you think your customers are on. And for some, if you're an artist, maybe you're on Instagram, and you're not as much on LinkedIn, but you should still be on LinkedIn. You just may not be going all in on LinkedIn, but you need to be on multiple channels, because being from marketing like yourself, you realize that the buyers are everywhere, and you can't keep pace with where everyone's at. So the people who are practicing social selling, the people in your organization, can help direct you to these people, because they can interact with them and create this constellation out of the whole buyer's journey that can be beneficial to you from marketing. But you have to activate your teams, for that as well.
all right. Well, thanks, Eric. That was really interesting. Myself, I'm active on LinkedIn, but maybe not the same as you, since I'm more just browsing content and sometimes publishing. But I'm not thinking it about social selling maybe enough. So that's a really interesting point of view. And that was it. I want to thank you once again for coming to my video. And if you have a word for the end, you can go ahead.
Well, thanks again. It was a pleasure to always speak about this and educate people on the power of this platform. One thing, if I could give you to think about, very simply, is being visible and adding value with what you do on social platforms like LinkedIn. And if you start focusing on it from that perspective, being visible instead of just listening, and then starting to add value to the conversation,